What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers weekly tech podcast. This is episode 303, and our podcast is brought to you by Amazon. If you go to thinkcomputers.org/Amazon and happen to purchase something that gives a little kickback and, of course, keeps the podcast ongoing with me as my co-host, Ryan. What's going on?
Not much. It always amazes me how quickly a week goes by, and there was so much
dude.
happening last week in our ecosphere. Right, there's a lot to talk about, so a lot of cool stuff. I'm excited, ready to go.
It does seem okay. So, as we went through last year, it kind of went by. You think it's going by slow, and then you're like, "Holy crap!" And then it's the 12th, which means it's almost halfway through January already. It's like just time, just goes by so fast. So
crazy. And last week, my phone kept giving me all those reminders, of this photo you took last year or 2 years ago or whatever, and it's all these Vegas photos, and you're like, oh man, it's 2 years now since we've been out there. But
I know that's kind of crazy. Actually,
we'll get back out there.
Yeah, we'll definitely we should be at CES. What is it, 2023? We should be there.
Yeah.
I don't see us not being there. So of course, guys, this is a tech podcast. We're going to tell you all about our reviews this week, tech news, all that kind of fun stuff. If you do want to follow along, which I don't have shared right now, so I should share it. We do have our full show notes page, which I'll bring up here in 1 second. See, I'm just not prepared this week. It's just everything's flying by so fast. But we have a full show notes page that has everything that we're going to be talking about this week. A little CES 2022 wrap up, some of the stories we didn't cover last week. We got some awesome reviews and stuff we have coming up next week, and some fun stuff to talk about as well. So to start things off, we will start with our reviews, and I took a look at a really cool keyboard, that we talked about almost probably like a year ago, because it was a crowd-funded keyboard initially. Now you can just go ahead and buy it. It is the Mountain Everest Max, and the whole idea with this keyboard is that it's meant to be modular. It has a bunch of different parts that you can interchange and move around, and it just has some things that make sense for a lot of people, I think. So let's first one thing I have to say, and this gets overlooked these days, is the unboxing experience of this keyboard was one of the better unboxing experiences that I've had in a while. It comes in this box that you kind of open, and at the top here, you have the keyboard itself, and it says all the cool stuff. But then there's it's almost like a tray that pulls out, and then all of your accessories are in their own little boxes, kind of, right there. I don't know. It's just a really cool experience, I would say.
Yeah, I do like experiences like that, right? It makes you feel like, wow, I spent money, and I'm getting a nice experience of not just getting a nice product, but the experience of opening it and getting to find everything and open everything up is nice. I just wonder how much extra cost some of this adds sometimes.
That is true. That is very true. So the keyboard itself, so Everest, or Mountain, actually makes a couple different versions of the Everest, which I'll go into in a little bit. But this is the Max version. This is the fully decked out version. So you get the keyboard itself, which is a TKL or 10 keyless keyboard. You get a number pad. You get this kind of like a media dock right here. You get a USB-C to USB-A cable and a smaller USB-C to USB-C. You get a keycap and key switch puller, and you get some spacers for the feet, which we'll talk about. So a lot comes with this keyboard itself. The keyboard, it's so well made. So it's kind of hard to see in the pictures, but it's an aluminum top plate that's custom milled. So it's kind of hard to see. So the actual instep where the keys are, you can see it's all milled there. It gives it a pretty cool look, and it has this quality feel to it. It's a nice heavy keyboard. It feels really good. Not a ton of extra space on the keyboard itself. So just this little top here, but pretty standard. ABS keycap, mechanical key switches, Cherry MX. You get the choice of red, blue, brown, silver, and then the red silence. So you can pick, on their website, you can kind of configure which one you want. We got the browns. And then you have the wrist rest. And the wrist rest is, I love this wrist rest. It is there's just simply magnets that just connected. I hated those ones. I think Corsair did this for a while. It's like they had those like little plastic tabs where if you weren't careful, you would just break it. This just,
broken.
yeah. Yeah. So this wrist rest just goes on so easily. Yeah, it's just magnets and it's very comfortable. It has a thin, it's not like a rubber wrist rest. It has like a rubber coating, but there's a thin layer of cushioning. So I think it's like the perfect, it's not too much cushion, but it's not just straight rubber either. It's a good wrist rest. So I like that there as well. And the interesting thing about this keyboard, which I'll show you, is if you look at it from the side, you see a USB-C connection on one side. There's actually one on the opposite side as well. And then at the top, we have two USB-Cs, one here, which I'll tell you about those. And this USB-A is a pass-through. So the actual connection is on the bottom here. It's down in here. The connection to connect to your computer. And then that actually gives you a USB 3.2 Gen 1 pass-through as well on a single cable, which is really nice. Typically, when you had a pass-through, you have to have two cables going to your PC, one for the pass-through and then one for the keyboard. Because of Type-C, we only have one cable, which I really like. Another thing that's really cool about this keyboard, since we're looking at the bottom here, is these feet. The feet are all magnetic, which is awesome. So they include 8 separate spacers that allow you to adjust the height of the keyboard and the number pad. And because they're obviously magnetic, they just, go right on. You don't have to worry about it. You can see them right here. It's such an easier way to add height or take off height of the keyboard. None of those stupid, the flip outs feet that, again, sometimes do break and things like that. This, you just don't have to worry about that. So something that they also have thought about. The number pad that comes with the keyboard is your standard number pad. Same overall design. So it does have that aluminum top plate. It has the Cherry MX key switches. So all of the main parts of this are all Cherry MX. And then we have these 4 display keys, which are actually small little LCD screens, kind of like you would see on a Stream Deck. So just think Stream Deck here. These are all fully programmable, which I'll show you. And of course, you can change what's displayed on them. So you get 4 of those on that. And the cool thing about the number pad, if you look at it from the bottom, it has this sort of like lever or slider. And basically what that does is it slides out the USB connection. So you can actually connect this to either the left side or the right side of the keyboard. So if you're somebody that actually uses the number pad, that would be on the left side. That's not normal, I would say. You could put it over there. If you want on the right side, you could put it over there, or you can actually use that small USB cable to put it on, put it a little bit further away on either side, which is pretty cool too. So that's really cool. So it's kind of like, again, modular concept. You can kind of move the parts around. Also, we have the media dock. And it has a bunch of dedicated buttons, and it has a dial here, which actually has a screen on it, which I'll show you. That can also be put on the keyboard on the top left or top right. So here's some configurations, what you would kind of see with the keyboard. So we have the number pad on the side here. We have the media dock kind of on this side. And, we can obviously just switch that. We can put the media dock on this side and the number pad on this side. So this kind of, gives you the ability to, change the parts around. You can actually even, here's that little USB cable, you could plug in the number pad and kind of have it a little farther off. You could actually plug it in up here as well, because there's an extra Type-C up here. So you have a lot of different kind of configurations you can do with this keyboard, which is really cool. So talking about those different parts,
is there a cable length limit for that numpad? Like, I know they include the short one, but like if you wanted to have it a little further away, do you know if there's any like restrictions there?
I don't believe so, because it's a typical Type-C connection,
Okay.
so it shouldn't.
Cool.
I assume you could buy custom coiled cable. You can kind of do stuff like that if you really wanted to, I assume. So full RGB backlit, obviously, those keys, the display keys, you can kind of see what they look like here. They actually look pretty good. And here's in the light. And then they have a bunch of, you can put your own photos in there if you want. You can just select a photo on your computer to display here. They have a bunch of ones already pre-made. Like these are some of their pre-made ones. So like Counter-Strike, Dota, Discord, Steam. So if you were like, oh, I don't have a picture for any of these things, like they have for like all the major games and a lot of other stuff, they have these already pre-made. And again, they do look good. And I think, for a lot of just standard gamers or maybe even first-time streamers, I think 4 keys is more than enough. I know you have a Stream Deck. I don't know how many buttons you actually use on that Stream Deck.
On a regular basis, I'm usually using like 3 or 4, honestly.
Yeah. So I think 4 here is definitely good. And what's nice about this is they have so these are basically like programmable keys. So you can program them to do kind of whatever you want. But in the software, they do have OBS commands built in. So if you are a streamer that uses OBS, all the OBS commands are actually built into the software, so you can select those, which is pretty nice. And then we have the media dock here, so it's pretty cool. So you can just display, like, here's a logo. We could put the ThinkComputers logo on there. You can kind of display a logo, but then you can kind of go through and change different settings on your PC as well as on the keyboard. So you can change like the brightness of the RGB backlighting. You can change profiles. You can do that all on here pretty nicely. Like you can view certain things. Like here's our GPU percentage that's being used. Here, changing the RGB lighting. You can put a clock on there. There's a bunch of cool different things. You can show like your APM. You can have timers. There's a bunch of different stuff that you can do with this little dial. And the screen is actually, these pictures don't do it justice, but the screen is actually quite good. This reminds me of the Corsair iQ Nexus that we reviewed. That was like that little screen that you could put on the top of your keyboard that kind of, displayed certain system specs, kind of like the same thing. I think this implementation is much better because it's larger and you can toggle between different things pretty easily. So that's kind of what this keyboard really does. Beyond that, it is a standard Cherry MX keyboard. It feels really good. Again, we reviewed the brown switches, which I think are great for typing as well as gaming. We have a sound test of those if you guys want to check it out in the review. If you're not familiar with Cherry MX Browns, but overall, I think this keyboard's really good. It does so much, and there's so many cool little things. And maybe you're like, I don't know if I want to get a Stream Deck, or it gives you the Stream Deck aspect. It gives you like something again like the Corsair iQ Nexus. It gives it kind of all encompassing, gives you a lot of different features. Now, all those features do come at a price. The full setup is $249.99. And then if you wanted the Cherry MX speed or silent switches, it's actually an extra $10, which is a lot of money, which I think you can get a really good keyboard for around that price or cheaper. Yeah. So it's definitely something to think about. And the thing that I feel is really missing from this keyboard, no PBT keycaps on this. That's kind of the big thing here is, you get into that $200 range for keyboards. They usually have PBT keycaps, which makes the overall gaming and typing experience so much better. They also do offer an Everest Core version, which is basically just a TKL keyboard. None of the accessories that we talked about. That's $149.99 or $159 with the speed or silent switches. And then, of course, you can buy all the accessories extra if you want to do them down the line. So if you wanted, you get the TKL keyboard, like, oh, maybe I will use that media dock. You can buy that stuff after. They also have an Everest Core Barebone, which is the TKL keyboard, but without switches or keycaps. So if you did like the frame, you can just basically buy the frame and then add your own switches and add your own keycaps. And I kind of did mention it, but all of the switches on this are hot swappable. So you can buy it with the Cherry MX flavor, of switches that you want. And then down the line, if you want to switch, change out the switches, you can go ahead and do that as well. So a lot of options with this keyboard. It is expensive. It has some really cool features. I feel like if you're going to make use of all the features, it will be really great for you. If not, maybe buy the TKL version, or it just comes down to price. And I think it is decently expensive, but I did like it. I thought it was really cool, very comfortable, very well made, too. It's just $259 for a keyboard that doesn't have PBT keycaps is a lot. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, I liked it. Pretty cool. And it's good to see those little screens coming on keyboards these days. It's just something a little. You're muted.
Whoops. What was the one back in the day that had like screens under every?
I forget what that was called.
It was like wasn't the Olympic? I don't know. It was something.
We interviewed that guy at CES one.
It was something crazy, right? Like, and back in the day, it was like,
this is like way back.
How is this even possible? Like, this is amazing, right? And I don't know that it ever really came to fruition.
I think
it was right
back then. It was the cost, then the programming of it. Like now we have all of this. All of this great software, which I didn't mention. So Everest or Mountain's software is called Basecamp. If you didn't know, everything with Mountain, all of their products and their software is all based on mountain climbing.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So their Basecamp software is really great. Super easy to configure everything. Super easy to change the pictures that are on those display keys, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that, I remember that because this is like years and years and years ago. And I think it was the cost and then programming and, it just wasn't there yet. But, the cost of those screens is so low now. Because I think that keyboard was like $1,000, that one you were talking about.
It was, it was a lot. Yeah. But no, I think you're right. Having these screens on there that can show certain statistics or whatever at a glance is pretty cool. Yeah, so check out the review. But like I said, pretty cool keyboard for what it is, and it's just good to see those things kind of come in. And again, we have seen keyboards that kind of have screens, or even the IQ Nexus from Corsair. The implementation just wasn't great, and I think the implementation, the media dock on this with that screen, it's done well. They kind of bridge that gap between hardware and software. It all works well together, because we've seen them for a while. Logitech had the keyboards with the screen on it, and it wasn't there yet. And I think this one is kind of, I don't know, man. That first G15, I loved it. I loved it so much. I still have it. Yeah. Like I said, I feel we're just getting better as the years go on. These implementations are getting better, more affordable. Yep. Yeah. So that's a good thing. So like I said, if you're interested, check out the review. It is a good keyboard. So I will move on from that to storage, and ADATA sent us over their new XPG Atom 50, which essentially is, it's marketed as like an entry-level Gen 4 NVMe SSD. The cool thing about this one is that it's DRAM-less, so there's no DRAM cache chip on this at all. It's the first Gen 4 drive that we reviewed that doesn't have a DRAM cache chip, and it's a good drive overall. It's not breaking any speed records. It's rated for 5,000 megabytes per second. Read. It's kind of funny to hear you say that it's a entry-level Gen 4 drive. Like Gen 4 just in general is so fast and so much of an improvement even over Gen 3 that, like, I don't know, it just kind of cracks me up. Yeah, so the entry, if you think about it, we're getting up to 7,000. Yeah. So this drive is rated for 5,000 read and 4,500 write. It did just about that in our testing. Don't want to get into this one so much, a lot. One thing I do like that ADATA has done, or XPG has done, is they do ship it with a heat spreader, but it's not installed. This heat spreader is literally just a piece of metal. It's not like a big heat sink or anything like that. So I think most people who are buying this because it's Gen 4 are going to have a motherboard that has a much beefier cooling solution, the built-in heat sinks on your motherboard. So you don't have to try to rip this heatsink off because it's not installed, obviously. So that's kind of nice that they do have that there. As far as the controller that they're using the InnoGrit IG5220, which is a 4-channel controller, not very big. Another thing that's nice about this drive is that it is single-sided.
So if you were looking for a drive, maybe for a laptop, this is also PS5 compatible, single-sided, which is cool on this one too. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's a good drive for what it is. DRAMless. I think it's the 1 terabyte is only 119 on this one, so very affordable as well. It's just a good entry level Gen 4 drive. And it's only 2.5 watts, which is very low for a Gen 4 drive. So not gonna, take a lot of power either. It's just a good overall drive. Again, not breaking any Gen 4 speed records or anything like that, but for what it is and what it costs, I think it is a good drive. So if you're looking for Gen 4 drive that's going to be affordable, check it out.
Sweet.
And that brings us to Case Mod Friday. And this week we have another build from Declassified Systems. We featured them before. They have this build called Xenagol? Xenagino? How do you say that?
I don't know.
It's
Zeganol? Zeganol?
It's the name of the case manufacturer, which I don't believe this case manufacturer is in the United States. It's a really cool case. It's the, I don't know the actual, that's the manufacturer, but it's pretty cool. I mean, isn't that a pretty cool case?
Yeah, kind of these little strips along the front that kind of go around the top to the back and bottom. It is neat.
It's like it's sort of like an open air design with these. I assume this is metal, but I can't imagine it'd be plastic. I assume it's metal. Yeah, and then he's just done a nice build inside. Me and my frosted tubing, clean, very, very clean lines with the custom water cooling there. Yeah, I like it. And the colors obviously matching the red with the red on the case with the coolant. It all goes together pretty well. We have a picture. Oh, go ahead.
What I don't like sometimes with red coolant, and it was shown in that last image you had there, is how dark the reservoir looks when it's like, if it's not a well-lit reservoir, it just looks, I don't know, like I don't know what it is about it, because I think the red looks great in the tubes and where you can see it in the flow meter and in the water blocks, it looks great. But when it's a high concentration of that red liquid, it just, I don't know, something about it. Not a fan.
Do you think it's just because the thickness of the glass on the reservoir?
I don't know what it is.
Or just the different material used?
Material, and we're also getting like a reflection off of it, so
let me
see the true color. It may look great when it's dark and lit up as well. Like, see, it looks better. It doesn't look quite as dark.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better. But yeah, it's just a pretty,
it's cool,
pretty simple build. It uses I've been looking at getting these fans for my new build. The Lian Li Uni fans here that are light up on the side. I kind of like that.
Together.
Yeah, and to save the Uni fans, they kind of snap together, and the RGB connections are part of that whole snapping together. So you don't have a bunch of cables that you're daisy chaining and all this. Like, if you've ever done a build that has 3 or more RGB fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like the RGB cable management is hell. So I've been looking at getting these for my next build, but we'll see how all that goes.
See here. 9 RGB fans, 2 or 3 RGB strips in this, a water block, or 2 water blocks. Like, it's a mess on the other side.
Yeah, but I like this. It's just a simple build. It's not a whole. It's nothing crazy. I just think it came together really well. So definitely go ahead and check this one out. And as I always say, we do have our full section of Case Mod Friday builds. If you're interested in case modding or just kind of want to see, what you can do with PC hardware and what kind of like the enthusiast community is doing, just check out our Case Mod Friday section on the site. And we have our contest going on. So our contest, we're doing it with Thermaltake, and it's called our New Year's giveaway, even though it's going to the end of this month. We're we're giving away 3 cases, which is really cool. So we typically, like a lot of our hardware giveaways just like aren't cases, but Thermaltake hooked us up with 3 cases. So we have the Tower 100 Black, which is this first one right here. Then we have the AH-T200 Pink. That's this one. That's the one that kind of looks like a helicopter.
Helicopter or a mech or something.
Yeah,
Yep.
something crazy. And it's a pink version. And then we have the one in the middle, which is the Divider 300 TG ARGB. This is super easy to enter. Just like all of our contests, we do it right through Gleam. So it's just, again, super easy to enter. Again, thanks for Thermaltake for hooking us up with this. Yeah, just like I said, and it goes to the 30th of January. So get your entry in multiple different ways to enter as well. So yeah, just trying to give back to you guys, for being a part of our community here. So that brings us to news this like swallowed weird.
You're right there.
Yeah, it's like
forget how to breathe for a minute.
Did you see that? This is totally off topic, but did you see that interview with the birds aren't real guy? He trolled. He was like being interviewed on like some morning show. I will find it, but I'm sure if you just like Google like birds aren't real, I don't know. But anyways, he like pretended to cough on camera and like spit all of his stuff out, like it's like on like live morning show. It was hilarious. But that's almost what I just did, because I just like swallowed weird. But in any case, the big weird news story this week is we had talked about it, and then at CES, the only announcement from NVIDIA, well, they had 2 announcements, 3050 and 3090 Ti.
Right.
That was it. We were expecting also a 3080 12 gigabyte, which was not announced, but I guess it was announced this week.
It's so weird that they didn't announce it at CES. Like, I don't get that.
There was a lot of stuff, so we didn't get one of these 2 reviews, but from the people that I know that got it, like it was very last minute. Like they did, the drivers weren't ready. Like it was a very bad launch, I would say. Like a lot of people didn't even know that it was like
yeah,
it was,
I saw that
it was
as well.
Yeah,
they were
there's
like, oh hey, and these just showed up.
Yeah, so it's very last minute. So the big change, there's a couple changes. It's not just a memory bump. We have the official specs here, and there's all the cards have launched. So if you're looking for like an Asus card, we have the EVGA cards here. So the big change, so RTX 3080, it has the original one has 68 streaming multiprocessors. The new RTX 3080 12 gigabyte has 70. So that gives you 8,960 CUDA cores compared to 8,704. You get 8 more tensor cores. So you have 280 tensor cores instead of 272, 70 RT cores instead of 68. Obviously, we get the bump in memory. So going from 10 gigabytes of GDDR6X to 12 gigabytes of GDDR6X. It's also running it at a higher speed,
a wider bus.
Yeah, wider bus. So the original 320-bit bus, we're at a 384-bit bus, which is the same as the 3080 Ti. I don't see the point.
Yeah, not really. And then what the price difference was about $400 more than the standard 3080.
Yeah, I
don't know what
I hate when we
would
do
you
this.
Need out of this. Yeah,
I hate when we do this. Okay, is that in the 3080 series now we have a 3080, we have a 3080 12 gigabyte, and we have a 3080 Ti. That's 3 cards where there should only technically be 2, and really there should only be 1. You know what I mean?
Think there should be a Ti in there?
Maybe.
We've had TIs in the 80 range for a long time though.
Yeah. But it's just like we talked about this before, and we've talked about this for a lot. There's like every $50 is like a price. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it's like they have to have a product at every
and
all these
I know
intervals.
It confuses the customer. It's like, oh wait, is this a 3080 12? I know it says it on the box, but it's just like it confuses somebody, and I don't know.
And I think that seeing, if you're someone that maybe doesn't keep up with it, and you're there at a micro center or something, and you see a 3080 and a 3080 12 gig, right? And you're like, well, okay, it's 12 gigs, so it's got more to it, right?
Mhm.
And it's more expensive, so it's got to be a lot faster and better, right? Are you really
Mhm.
going to get that much more out of this thing?
Yeah, I haven't looked at reviews
I
today.
haven't. I didn't either. I didn't look at
Yeah.
reviews, but I'm doubting there's a whole lot of a difference.
Yeah, because if
Unless,
I think the 3080 and 3080 Ti was like 12%, 10%. I don't remember.
yeah, I'm
Uh,
not going to spend $400 to have like 5 to 6% if that's what it
and that's
boils
like
down to.
that equates to 2 to 3 FPS in games. I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of
not
what it
worth it.
does. Yeah, so it's just like, I guess again, these are put out to meet price points against competitors, which would be AMD. I just have three, like, so you have a entry level card, have a mid range card, have a high end card, and then have a super high end card. That's all you need.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree. And then yeah, if you a year and a half or something later need to put a refresh out, okay, I'm
Yeah,
fine with that.
it's just weird. And again, there's not a super, which we got last generation, obviously. So no, it's not a super. It's just a 3080 12 gigabytes. So yeah, I mean, I I don't know. But like I said, all the board partners have all their cards out if you're looking to get one. I don't know what the availability on these is either. GPU availability is still pretty horrible. So, um, yeah, that's just, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Talking about something else that might be disappointing. We've been talking about it for over a year now. Intel's discrete graphics cards, kind of exciting, because uh, we want more competition in the space, just because it helps the consumer more than anything, I feel. But they edited their websites. So their website used to say introducing Intel Arc, Intel Graphics Solutions coming Q1 2022. Now it says Intel Arc Graphics Solutions coming 2022. It's been changed. Um,
And us enthusiasts notice these things, right? And we're like,
yes,
uh-oh.
we noticed the stealth edits.
Yep.
Um, and again, it says it there, and then it says it, many ways to play. From our global partners in Q1 2022, and then it just says in 2022. So it would seem like we're not going to get Intel Arc discrete graphics in Q1 2022, Q2, Q3 probably. um, yeah, I mean, I would say honestly, I would rather them come out with something that works, that's not rushed. We've seen when hardware and software in games get rushed, and then it's a shit show, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Make sure your first impression's a good one.
yeah, so I would rather wait and have something that works, have something that not only works, but I mean they have to work with all these game developers. You have all the stuff that comes into play. Like, you don't want to get a Intel dedicated graphics card that doesn't work and or has all these issues with certain titles. You know what I mean? So I would rather it come out whenever it's actually ready. So probably, like I said, Q2, Q3. And we'll obviously keep you guys updated on that. Also, we just got PCI Express 5.0. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been out and everything like that, but PCI SIG, they announced PCI Express 6.0. Um, Crazy fast. Basically, they're showing that IO bandwidth doubles every 3 years, which is insane. PCI Express will support speeds, which is base speeds of basically 256 gigabytes per second over a 16 lane configuration. That's fast.
It's very fast.
That's super fast. Um, yeah. And again, we're not going to see this until a couple. I mean, I say a couple years, but the way things are going so fast, I mean, you think we just got PCI Express 4.0, and then Intel went to 5.0, and then AMD is going to go 5.0 on Ryzen 7000 series. I mean, it could be a year, till we see it in the actual mainstream. Yeah, probably.
Oh, I think we've got a couple years before
Yeah, a couple years.
we see it.
Yeah.
But no, that's crazy that we're just getting into 5, which is fast, obviously, but up to 256 gigabytes a second is insane.
Yeah, it's very, very fast. So cool to see that. And it's cool to see how fast tech it's just so much, we're getting so fast with so many different things. Some of the things that are fast, MSI announced, this was at CES, they announced their Meg 271Q mini LED. This look like, if you're an esports gamer, like a serious gamer, this is going to be one awesome monitor. 27-inch. It is 300 hertz IPS display, and it's mini LED. And if you've never seen a mini LED display, 500 different local dimming zones on the display itself. You have to. NVIDIA showed us this 2 years ago now at CES, and it was one of the cool, like, just the clarity of the different, you have fire over here, and it's like so much brighter on the screen. It's awesome. It's so awesome. And we're seeing that now come from like a kind of like an enthusiast grade gaming, like an enthusiast grade gaming display where like somebody's paying for the specs and it's not really as much as like a professional gaming display, to now see that tech come to professional gaming display like this is really, really awesome. 300 hertz is going to be amazing. For your fast-paced games, 1 millisecond response time. It's G-Sync Ultimate rated. It's just awesome. I don't think they released the price of this though. Did they? No, I don't believe they did. It's going to be decently expensive. But like I said, if you're an esports gamer, this is going to be
It looks like it's pretty thick.
Yeah, decently thick.
You know what I mean? I mean, it looks like it's got the back view shows like a USB hub on the side, but it looks pretty thick. And I wonder if that's due to like the processing power that it takes to do that, or to keep it cool, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not specifically sure, but pretty cool to see that. Also, MSI. We actually did a Zoom call with MSI to talk about a lot of their new products. One of the more interesting products is that MSI. What was this? MSI has made routers before, and this is like a very long time ago. They haven't made routers in a long time, and they've never made a gaming router. And I think, we have seen the normal, like the Netgear gaming routers and things like that. But I think when Asus got into the high-end gaming router realm, it really brought a lot of people into it, especially, more computer people, because they kind of pushed the limits and they really made a router specifically for PC gamers. And it looks like MSI is going to be doing the same thing. So they told us about their Radix AXE 6600. They had one on the Zoom call. They got to kind of show us what it did. It's going to be Wi-Fi 6E. It's obviously going to have kind of, that gaming look and everything like that. But the real cool thing about it is that there's a lot of gamers who want the fastest speed possible, but they know nothing about networking. They know nothing about going in and setting settings and doing ports. They don't know. I'm even kind of a novice on a lot of that stuff these days. I just want the fastest speed possible for my device that I'm gaming on. So you'll see this little MSI Dragon logo, which Ryan hates. which is right there. But that's actually a button. And what that's going to do is that's going to turn on in AI gaming mode. Basically, it's not going to read your traffic, but it's going to, I guess, kind of know what devices are gaming and then optimize the traffic for those devices. And there's going to be different settings. So obviously you press the button, it's going to go into gaming mode. You can press another button. There's like a streaming mode. It's going to prioritize devices for whatever that is. So for somebody again who doesn't know anything about networking, but again is like serious gamer, but they don't know how to set up their ports correctly, they don't know how to optimize their traffic correctly. This router is the
It's
whole
like
idea. The whole
QoS at the click of a button.
yeah, it is. It's AI QoS. That's what they're calling it. So that's really cool. Obviously, you're getting, it's a gaming router. You have RGB. Each one of the antennas has RGB. You could control that with their RGB software. It's gonna look really cool. This with everything that's going on, they're shooting for a Q2 release, but I mean, probably more along the lines of Q3 for this. And it's going to be around the $400 to $500 range, which is kind of expected given its hardware.
Does it have hardwired ports as well, like a gigabit switch or maybe 2.5 built into it? Do you know?
They didn't say what.
I'm guessing it probably has a switch.
I assume, yeah. It's probably would have at least a 2.5 gig port, because the Asus one that I have, the ROG one, has a 2.5 gig port. So I would assume this one would have at least a 2.5 gig port on it as well. I should have asked them that. I didn't ask them that. My interview skills are just not good these days. I should ask them that because it's kind of important too as well. So, but yeah, pretty cool. I think it's good to see, again, more competition in this space makes it just better for every, pushes the limits, and it's good to see. So that would be their first real gaming router. Obviously when we get more info on it, and I can ask them maybe for next podcast what the ports, what ports would be on the back. I would assume,
I just did a quick look and nobody else really reported on that either. So I'm curious.
I assume there'd be one high speed one, and then the rest would be 100 yeah. So, or 1 gig,
gig, yeah.
four 1 gig ports, and then maybe one either 2.5, 5, or 10, probably closer to 2.5 or 5. The 10 would be kind of super high end, but who knows? Yeah, pretty cool stuff there. Also, I did want to say we did talk about it, and I didn't write an article on it, but they did show me the Z690 Godlike, which I'll pick up a picture of if we can find it.
Pretty sweet board.
Yeah, and it has some really cool features. I'm just gonna try to bring this up and share it with you. I can't. Well, anyways, so Z690 Godlike, which is like their most high-end Z690 motherboard. We did talk about it, and we weren't sure if
I forgot
if the board you could just buy the board, or it comes in a bundle. It will only come in the bundle, at least for the time being. They don't plan on selling it as it's just the board itself. So the bundle comes with DDR5 memory. It comes with 360 mil AIO from MSI, and you get the board. And the cost of that is $2,099. So it's very expensive motherboard. But one of the really cool things that they did show me is, it's kind of hard to see, but this section right here it's that screen. It's a screen. And the cool thing about it is that screen is just magnetized on there, and you can take it off and you can put it anywhere in your case, outside your case. It comes with a little extension cable, so you can put it pretty much anywhere. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so something that they showed us there as well. So like I said, some cool stuff coming out of CES. Also, really interesting thing coming out of CES. Razer had this modular desk concept, which they did have. Like, all of this is renders, but they did have it at CES. Basically, it's this gaming desk that every part on it is modular, including the screen. So everything kind of slots in. You can kind of see powering this technically is a laptop. And then you have a screen, which would either be, I think it's a 65 or 70-inch screen. You can pick which size you want. There's all these different modules, screens, things that you can kind of just go into here. Very cool and unique concept. I don't see it becoming a real product. We've seen this from Razer before. And here's some of like the setups, like, oh, this would be the gamer, and you would have, different modules that would kind of just plug in, right? You know, here's the creator, and there's some different modules. Like I guess this is a dedicated GPU you'd have over here, and some different things, and a notepad to do your drawing, that type of stuff. This is the streamer that would have, certain, again, I love this idea. I like this. This is really cool. The problem is that all of these parts have to be proprietary, right? Because if they have to slot in like
You
this,
have to slot it into certain sizes, and yeah.
yeah, and you'd have to build either a certain type of casing that like a graphics card would go in, that would have a proprietary connector for it to work or whatever it may be. Like it just doesn't, it's not,
I don't know.
it's
I'm
not,
not sold.
it's not feasible on a cost level. Like this thing would be incredibly expensive. And like they showed the desk. I mean, it's kind of hard to see here. Like it's not like, how's this all being cooled? Like if you have a GPU in here, like how's that work? Like with cooling
And is
and
it really that modular? If you got to like, are they designing it to be, oh, if you need to do this task, put it in this mode, but if you're going to be streaming, put it in this mode? Like how easy is it to switch between modes? Is that even a
yeah,
reasonable
again,
expectation?
it's yeah, very cool. And like, does everybody want like this flat screen? Like, can I angle this screen? Or yeah, I don't know. What? Again, don't see this being a real thing, but it was cool to see. It's cool. It's cool to, you know, um, we've never seen a razor. Oh, we did the Tomahawk. We actually, I linked it here. The Tomahawk was actual real product that you could buy. Project Christine, which was CES 2014, which is kind of like a modular PC concept, never came to be anything. So we'll see if this actually becomes something. Who knows? Maybe they'll make like, they did have one. Like I said, they did have one at CES. I don't know how functional it was, but we'll see if they actually make, maybe some big streamer will get one, or see kind of how that all comes out. But cool concept. It just doesn't make sense for 99% of people, I would say. Also, height, which is it's iBuyPower's. It's kind of like their brand that's making PC products. They have an ITX case that we actually have here to review. They announced a new case, which I think is like, I've been looking at new cases, and this is like kind of like the perfect case for what I've been looking for.
Sweet.
So this is their Y60. Looks a lot like the Lian Li 011 Dynamics, sort of. But it really is kind of just like made to show off all of your entire system. So this is a one single piece of glass right here with the angle in it. And it's meant to show off your entire PC. From what I know, it supports up to extended ATX motherboards. The graphics cards are meant to be put in vertically by default, like this. And of course, you can see in this picture,
I think vertical is the only orientation they support.
Yeah. And obviously supports water cooling that you can see here. At least support for, I mean, this looks to be a 280. These have to be 140s, right?
Yeah, maybe. It's tough to tell.
Yeah, but in any case, cooling here, cooling at the top. I don't know if there's I assume there's some type of cooling I don't know. But the design, I mean, this is like, again, I think this looks really good. What do you think?
Where's the power supply in this case?
Good question.
Unless that it is kind of a wide case.
So
it's behind. It's behind the
behind,
motherboard, right?
Yeah.
All right. Never mind. No, I like this. I think it looks cool. And what is the little white? It's not an add-in card. Like, is it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's in the render.
I saw that in some of the other images. No, I think it's cool. Yeah, I like that picture.
I think it's just like, awesome. Again, we want to show off our PC. And there's so many, like, again, the 011 Dynamic, I think, is the best case currently, to show off your PC that offers decent cooling. Again, with all this glass, I don't know how well this one's going to cool either. But this gives you like the full thing, like the whole wraparound thing, I think is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
unobstructed view is nice.
And it's kind of nice that this is really designed to be put in the corner. Like if you look at the first image, like it just fits perfectly in like that back corner. You have your ports here, two USB 3.2. I assume these are Gen 1s. And then you have the Type C right here, and then the audio connection too. It's just like it's very well designed when it comes to cases, I think. So I'm in on this. I like this case a lot, a lot. So
Yeah.
they'll have the white version that we're showing here. There's also going to be a black version, and then there's going to be a red version. All of the versions in the red as well has the black interior. So you would have the red exterior with the black interior, and obviously black on black, and then the white and black here as well.
I'm glad they put those USB ports at the bottom for like a
Yeah,
couple reasons, right? Like your cable isn't hanging down and stressing. Plus, you don't have a cable hanging over the glass obstructing your view. So
yeah.
it's just those little design pieces that are nice.
MSRP starting at $199 in March. So
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Again, especially if it supports extended ATX. So, you can do a lot in this. So we'll see. I don't know though, because it looks like it.
It looks like it angles right there, right after that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get more information on this as we get into the year here, but pretty cool. I was actually, this is one of my favorite things at CES, surprisingly. Probably because I'm looking for a case like this, but I think that it was just very, very cool. So yeah, go ahead and check that out if you want to know more. Also, Thermaltake unveiled their Pacific R2 Ultra memory LCD monitor kit. So this basically puts an LCD screen on the top of your memory, basically. So it's just a clip-on module that kind of goes on here, and then you kind of put whatever you want on it on the top. I feel like we're coming to the point where like everything in our computer is getting a screen on it, right?
Screens on everything.
It started with the AIOs, and now we're seeing them on the motherboard, and now you can buy this extra screen here for that go on top of your memory. I like this. I think this implementation looks better than RGB lighting, right?
I don't know. I'd have to see it. I think it looks a little clunky to me. Like it's got quite the wide bezel.
But
I don't know if I'm a fan of how it mounts.
I mean
it's not horrible.
It's not horrible. Yeah.
I like RGB memory and how it looks.
I do too, but like to have a screen that I can have like different things on or display, it could I assume this can cycle through like different, they did show it with like your
get memory you an animation of some RGB memory to put on the screen.
There you go. You can't find,
right.
DDR5 RGB memory, so you gotta get the animation on.
That's right.
But like if you could cycle through different things that's going on, like your memory temperature, CPU temperature, fan speeds, like you do all that, that's pretty cool, I think. No word on pricing in the US. It will be $194.90 in the UK. That sounds like a lot.
It does sound like a lot.
Yeah, we'll have to check that pricing, but I think it's cool. I think again we're just gonna get LCDs on everything eventually. But yeah, Thermaltake had that. And our final piece of news this week is something that seems like it's a little too late. But we always said that when Ryzen 5000 series launched, why wasn't it backwards compatible with a lot older chipsets, especially the X370. And it looks like ASRock went ahead and they added support, at least on one motherboard. So maybe this is like a test to see, but they added support for Zen 3 CPUs on one X370 motherboard, which is their X370 Pro 4. So again, you could just, with the newest BIOS update, you can put in a Ryzen 5000 series CPU. it just
Eh,
seems, you know, I don't
I don't know.
see a lot of people putting a Ryzen 5000 series CPU in this board at this point. Maybe when 5000 series launched and you could just slot a 5000 series into an older system.
Right. That would have made a little more sense.
Yeah. Now, maybe if somebody has this specific board and they wanted to upgrade and now they finally can, that's kind of how I see it. Like they can finally, because again, from going from 3000 series to 5000 series, especially in gaming, there is a massive jump in performance, which means it's kind of, you know, it's worth, I guess, upgrading. And now your upgrade path would only be the CPU. It wouldn't be motherboard, and things like that. So, yeah, we'll see if they do it across the whole, and we'll see if other companies follow suit. Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, see if they allow this on,
Yeah,
the
it just kind of
chipset.
seems like an odd choice to bring it out
Yeah,
now,
it
so
just
late in
seems.
the game.
Yeah. So we'll see how kind of all that goes. But that is the news for the week. Next week, I will be focusing on the Asus ROG Maximus or Asus Maximus Z690 Hero motherboard. Finally getting my Z690 test bench up and running. Of course, this is Asus. Got a cool little screen here. Got a lot of cool stuff going on in this motherboard. I will be telling you guys all about that next week. I might have some other stuff to tell you guys as well. Just depends on kind of what I get done over the next few days. But yeah, this was coming up next week. We do typically at the end of the podcast talk about we did any cool tech related things. You did show us your Commodore 64.
Yep.
Yeah.
Haven't touched it since I showed it to you last week. Just haven't had a chance.
Yeah. I did. I think it was a couple weeks ago. We didn't talk about it. Let me see if I can find it here. So I was at the beach. I think it was like this was like 2 weeks ago. Talking about this kind of gaming related. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. So I had the beach and I go in. This is a convenience store because I was like, I need a Monster. And that's my normal energy drink.
Oh
And
yeah.
I went in and right, like there was like one. They have all the all the things where all the drinks.
Yep.
And there was just one that was like all G Fuel, and I was like, holy, there's like a lot of G. I gotta try one of these. Every time I see G Fuel, I'm like, oh, I gotta try one of these flavors that might be good. So they had this flavor called Sonic Peach Ring in the can. So is this one? It's like already
Pre-mixed for you.
pre-mixed, and it's carbonated and all that kind of stuff. And so if you've ever had like peach rings, like the candy, like the
Little
peach
gummies,
rings,
yeah.
yeah, which are like one of my favorite candies growing up. This literally tastes exactly like it, like exactly like it. It's so good. So if you're ever in the store and you see the Sonic one, Sonic Peach Ring, I would highly recommend it. I do believe they sell it
In a canister. Yeah.
This
See,
one's
that one's called
called.
Party Punch.
Yeah, I don't think that one's the same. I don't think that one's the same. No, they do. They do have the peach rings one. So I wonder how this tastes because it's not carbonated, which is the cans.
Oh, and the other stuff is carbonated.
Yeah, so all the cans are carbonated. They're like
I didn't know
drinking
that.
like a Monster.
Okay.
So, but anyways, at least the can, I would say I would highly, highly recommend if you like peach rings. It's that good. Yeah. So, check that out. Did you do anything cool? Do anything interesting? No. Just I do feel like this week specifically was like the first week of the year. Like last week was like crazy busy with CES. And like now I feel like this week was the actual first week of the year. Like I feel, getting back to normal and getting things done. So yeah, guys. Cool. So I want to thank everybody for coming out and everybody who's in the live stream. Of course, everybody that listens later. We do appreciate it if you do subscribe, whether you're listening. Oh, what do we have here? iTunes, Google Podcasts. I guess they call it Apple
Stitcher.
Podcasts. It's not. We're on all. We're on
Yeah.
iHeartRadio, Spotify. If you guys do subscribe, we definitely appreciate it. And we will be back here next week. I believe. I don't think we're have anything else going on. So yeah, so we'll be back here same time, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern time. So weird to say, like, because I'm still not used to that.
Yeah, West Coast time.
Yeah, West Coast time. So we will catch everybody next week.